So it lasted for a couple of years and it really evolved into something that was really important. We had little guided meditations, just starter meditations. And by the end of the first year, the kids were making them up and guiding them, we had activities, we created service projects, we did all kinds of things to uh, kind of make it enhance the entire program and just make it impactful for all of us. I have never learned more, not only from all the things that we dug into, but also from our kids who, had a lot to say about a lot of the subjects. And, kids are kids. And if you've worked with kids, you understand that not every session is going to be, a big, incredible dialogue. You're going to have to roll with it no matter what you're doing. And you're going to have to figure out ways to connect with them other than just delivering, especially delivering theology and delivering ideology, which is the old school problem that we have, which is what I believe, like our interfaith awareness and all of this is coming to the point where they realize that it can be really problematic to, tell kids, this is what you believe. I have a father, and he told us, well, of course, I have a father. We have a father in the program who has 3 kids. And he said, we said, well, why did you join? He has the kids part-time. And he's like, I'm tired of people sitting down with my kids and telling them this is what you believe. And I thought that that was really something that was starkly eye-opening, because that is what's happening many of the time. And because we were unlikely taught to question it, and because of the way all of our institutions are set up, and because many of these organizations are defensive in their beliefs, they deliver them in, this very matter-of-fact way that sort of cuts off the idea of thinking critically. So that's a little bit about the actual program. It is done in Socratic method. It's all series of questions, and there's lots of fun activities, games, music, Spotify playlists that go with it that make it fun for parents. So a little bit more is that when we developed this program, it evolves slowly. So many people said, write a book, do something with it. We never imagined that it would have any interest other than parents, almost like a homeschool for faith ed, especially for all these people that were leaving and fleeing organized religion. Well, what we've seen is people are fleeing organized religion. So the Sunday schools and the religious schools are empty. The families are not coming because their kids don't want to go, or they are worried about indoctrination. And so the kids are sort of left with nothing. There is a problematic area where I would say we have a generation of kids already that are, let's say, spiritually bankrupt because they have left everything. There hasn't been discussion. And of course, the other problem is that we as adults often wait until it's too late to start to have all these discussions and ideas and lay foundation for some sort of spiritual formation. And waiting until they're 11 is an absolutely horrible idea, because you have no chance of having a real conversation with most kids at that age as a parent. So we tightened the program, and we sort of realized that's the window, 5, 6 to 11, 12. That is a magic window for kids where you can lay a foundation, get them to think more deeply, get them to understand really important things about themselves, the world, life, social emotional skills. So as we grew, we started to layer in the social emotional skills. And the one other thing that I'll tell you about this is that we in the faith world are probably not terribly, unless you are an educator, you might not be terribly filled in on the progression of what's happened in social emotional learning, which is, it's been around for a while. It's become much more popular, but also controversial. Social emotional learning is basically that. It's learning about your emotions, your interpersonal relations. However, it's not a holistic program because it has been scrubbed of spirituality in order to force it into the Western public schools. So we realized that by taking our spiritual program and adding social emotional learning in, you now have social, emotional, and spiritual life skills. You don't just understand, I'm mad, I'm sad, I can breathe, I can meditate, I can do all these things. You understand the connection to life, to nature, to world, to our pets. You understand that a human relationship is one of the most fulfilling things that we can have on this planet. And then the spiritual skills, the understanding of forgiveness, gratitude, those things that help us cope in life and do well and succeed and get through all the darkness are the things that leave us with hope. They are the things that our kids do not have. They are swimming in toxic fear and darkness right now. They are completely inundated from every direction with social media about everything that's happening in the world, as are all of us. As are all of us. We cannot get away from it. I don't care if you turn everything off. You have to turn everything off for a very long time to not see what's happening. And the truth is, we live in this world. We want to know what's happening. It would be nice if we could find truth again, but that's getting harder and harder too. So just back to Spiritual Playdate, we launched in 2015 at the Parliament of World's Religions in Salt Lake City. We created the first ever Interfaith Family programs for Parliament of World Religion. We had the Interfaith Family Festival. Parliament had never had anything for family and kids before in their 100 and whatever years. We did that, and it was all kinds of interfaith programming, interesting, fun, interactive things the kids and families could do to open the door to look at have spiritual conversation, learn about spiritual life skills. And then in 2023, we did another program for Parliament in Chicago. We are now in 10 countries. We have a fair amount of translation, although translating spiritual content, and Deborah, I think you can probably back me up on this if you're still here. I don't know if there you are. It is tricky because, spiritual language is so nuanced and it can be so dangerous because obviously it can be open to interpretation. So we're slow to allow Google to interpretate spiritual lessons and just see what happens on the other end. So, however, real-time translators and specific books and games and things that we're translating are going well. And I think we also know that there's so many places where English translation into English and English learning is become important because there's, at least up until recently, there have been so many opportunities for the world to succeed if they knew English as well. So what are we doing now? Wait, I wanted to tell you something else before I jump into what we're recently working on. I think, so I will say that now that I've given you all that background, this particular presentation of mine is a little bit different because I know who you all are and your understanding of the world, the obstacles in a grown-up interfaith work, what you're trying to do with your organizations, and then what all the organizations are trying to do individually on their own and their limitations, which is some of the things that keep us from being able to really expand, again, holistically expand. So I think going back to what I said about social emotional learning and it being scrubbed of spirituality, what occurs to us now that we have so many spiritual organizations, some scrubbing the name church or synagogue and changing it to center, spiritual center, from their organizations, trying to move towards spirituality and not lose their native language of whatever religion that is. as they have started to come, I realize that there is an enormous need for a space like that to be able to deliver these kinds of things that parents want for their kids and kids need, and frankly, society needs. Public school teachers, they don't have the capacity to plug in an enormous amount of other curriculum. It really shouldn't be their job. Parents have abdicated that because they're terrified of it, frankly, and they don't know how to talk about it. And so we're trying to work with parents too, right? To train them, to give them the language to have a conversation. And then, of course, you have these faith institutions, some of which are very open to inclusion and some of which are very defensive, surprisingly, who will be all over the interfaith world, but still be very defensive about wanting to make sure that kids are learning their text, their scripture, their whatever. So I feel like it is a place where houses of worship and spirituality could do a spirituality 101 and serve families, kids, society, and even their own faith by giving kids a broader understanding and awareness of all of the religions of the world, a little bit of religious literacy, a lot of spiritual literacy, just to open them up at that early age to this idea of the metaphor, the connection, the love force, like all these different kinds of ideas that are out there in the spiritual world. So I do spend a lot of time talking to ministers and clergy who will, I hear constantly, we don't need this because we don't have kids. Well, you don't have kids and your constituency is aging out because you are not serving kids. You have nothing for them. These old methodologies they're boring to them. They don't make sense to them and the parents are concerned about it. Now, on another note about I'm this is really supposed to be specifically about families and resources for families, which I will show you plenty of, but on another note, in the interfaith world, especially of those of you that are running interfaith organizations, we have many members that are, interfaith organizations. They are in St. Louis. They have 20 different members from 20 different faith organizations. They're all their members. They too struggle to get engagement with those members. The members want to be a part of it, but they each have their own enormous job to do, frankly, as we all seem to have. And but so they want your newsletter. Maybe they'll do something like a Zoom meeting if it's something really interesting. But will they engage? Will they all come to a physical gathering? So I think we have to start thinking a little bit more differently about, again, trying to get engagement. The other problem is who's engaging in this world? All of us boomers, except Autumn, you look very young. But it's a lot of, older folks. Hi, Autumn. Um, sorry, I didn't mean to call you out so quickly, but the timing was right.
I guess I joined at the right time.
Um, so we have to think more differently about what it is we're trying to create. Do we have another high-level speaker? Do we bring in another pastor, rabbi, imam panel, trying to engage at this level? We've done so much of this. Not that it's not important, but in our world where the attention span is so tiny, they tend to be one and done. There isn't follow-up. They might show up, they might barely show up, and you've put a lot of effort into it, and then it just peters out and nothing else goes on. So, as again, part of our initiative to use tech for good and try to shift the paradigm of how we learn, what we learn, and who we learn it with, we are encouraging people, you know what? Don't have your interfaith group have another adult meeting. Have the leaders in the interfaith group that want to do something for the community take a space at the library and do a fun activity on forgiveness. I'll show you one that we created as outreach right now. Forgiveness is a universal spiritual principle. It's one of the most important life skills we could learn that will help us and help others, right? So you can bring your faith into it and say, you know what, I grew up in Judaism and it taught me this, this, and this. If you want to justify it and say why your faith is important, fantastic. But if you make it all about the teaching of that one faith, then you're sort of diluting things for them. It's really important for them to understand some of these things that cross all of these boundaries and build all of these bridges. So while our program does have spiritual and religious literacy, we also have a tremendous amount of work and activities that are secular and that all these things are plugged into and they appeal to most of these faith traditions and atheists and agnostics, which are also somebody that we cannot exclude in all of these conversations. People have to be allowed to develop their spiritual path and figure out what is right and true for them. That is something we can't lose. And I don't think that can be taken away because I don't know how you could really take it away. But there's a lot of things being taken away right now. So, okay, so I know I'm preaching to the choir today, so I'm going to take a breath. And before I show you some activities, because it's already 12:30, before I show you a few activities that I think are fun and engaging, and I encourage you to get involved with us, let us help you collaborate within your communities, and I will challenge all of you leaders of interfaith organizations to do some interactive community kinds of outreach activities that will serve the community, not just the other status quo sort of, here's another presentation. Oh, look who our celebrity speaker is today. Can we even sit through another Zoom? Any of us? I'm so happy we have so many today. So again, not that you shouldn't do that. We have to do that. But we have to get down to the fundamentals again. We have to get down to the kids, the families. We have to get down to hope again. And in order to get there, the one thing that I will tell you, many, many people will gather around are their children, and they will soften their tone. If you meet with families and kids, they will be much more careful about how harsh they are about judging you, judging each other, letting the kids judge each other. They want their kids to be happy, to be loved, and they want them to know how to love. So now that's pretty fundamental stuff. I don't think there's a bigger spiritual skill than love. So that would be a life skill that we would see as very important. Okay, so I'm going to stop a minute in case, first of all, please put your questions in the chat in case we don't have time for everybody's questions. But also, if anybody has any questions right now, let's take a few, and then I can move on to showing you more about some sorts of activities and things that will serve your community, that are fun, that are very inexpensive to run, and that we will help support you. We will help cross promote you with our work and our social media when you want to do something. When your organization wants to run something, we want to collaborate with you and lift you up, because when you win, we win, everyone wins. So let's start looking at the things that we can do together. But any questions out there? Who's the Autumn?
Um, well, I didn't hear the beginning, but it seems like I just want to say I appreciate, it seems like you have some ideas, like practical ideas of how to engage kids and youth and young people and interfaith things, because sometimes it's like yeah, sometimes it feels like some groups, they don't have as many young people involved, and it's like thinking of um how do we get them involved? Autumn, what's your thought? How do you get young people get involved?
Right.
And yeah, just thinking of it on the actual practical level. So thanks.
Oh, you're very welcome. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we'll share more about different ways. And, I just also comment, Autumn. I also work with a lot of peacekeeping organizations, bigger interfaith organizations, and huge organizations like Parliament, et cetera, et cetera. And because social media is necessary enormous, everything right now. And because a lot of the founders of a lot of these organizations are older individuals and might not, be steeped in social media. Of course, they all want younger people to come and help them and do their social media. And they just can't figure out how to get them, why, and so that is another conversation that's going on all the time. And because the culture needs to change, it's something that I certainly understand that maybe, a lot of young people might not be drawn to this. So that is another conversation, but we feel that once you start to bring in young people, all the rest follow. And I'm talking young kids, families, middle schoolers, then the rest will come with it. But trying to delegate out social media to teenagers and 20 somethings it doesn't make sense. It'd be nice if you hire a specialist, which no one has the money, but okay.
Yesterday, a group was trying to see if I could run their social media. I was like, maybe.
Any other questions? Steve, I saw you had a question.
Yeah, Lena, you mentioned unity. I wonder if you've had much success in addressing all these issues with organizations like Unity or any particular religion going to the larger environment saying, would you add this into your program? Because I can, as a Unity related history in me, what I'm all about, new thought, your work is incredible to be added and easily added to the Unity centers.
So Unity does have quite an appetite, and we are working with them. We do monthly meetings. The way it's structured right now, it's individuals coming from individual centers from all over the world that again, Unity is just like all these other faith organizations. They have some large communities and then some tiny little churches that are aging out with maybe 30 or 40 people, no money. And that's another thing, we don't prioritize the kids. And so many of these places, they stick them in the worst room in the basement with no resources and a volunteer teaching them that has not been trained. And then they wonder why the kids are bored or they're not really having, anything. So until we start to see, listen, I beat the drum, I scream from the mountaintop. We are having more and more faith-specific webinars. We're doing it for Quakers. Quakers have a big appetite for this because there's so much peace work, and their foundation is peace. United Methodists are starting to come in. We've done it for Union Reform Judaism. Reform Judaism is so, and it can be sectors of faith. And again, I can speak about this because I think most of you are familiar with a lot of this, but almost every faith has a liberal and a conservative side. And like here in the US, the mosques are so young compared to our churches, which are hundreds of years old. There might be 300 churches in a town and one mosque. So all of the Muslims in that community, the most conservative and the most liberals will be in the same mosque. And there might be nothing for kids in that mosque. Or if there is, there's controversy about what should be happening. What kind of a school is it? Are we going to a Hebrew school or are we going to a spiritual school? So again, the other piece that is interesting, because we developed this as parents and not as a curriculum for faith organizations, it's always been for parents to use at home. So for people that want, and this is for anybody, for therapists that want the parents engaged, send them home and do sessions, do the fun sessions on bullying, understanding bullying. You don't have to do, sacred books, holy texts and sacred books, holy books and sacred texts. I mean, pick a subject. It's all modular, and a lot of it's very secular. So yes, we are working in that realm. I encourage any of you that like the work that we're doing to make sure that you spread the word to your organizations that would have an appetite for this. Unity and all the new thought, definitely there's an appetite. I've been working a little bit with Anton. We just joined Anton. You know Anton? Yeah, of course you do.
Very much.
Okay, so spiritual, I've been a member of Anton, but Spiritual Playdate just joined Anton. And I hope to do some presentations for Anton because again, Anton is also filled with the same, we're all in this same situation where we have these little spiritual communities and we don't know how to do the outreach. We don't know how to bring them physically, let alone barely to the Zoom. And this is the one thing that I can tell you, parents are looking for this. There's an appetite for this among parents and grandparents. You know, if you have kids in your family that are going through, you know, mental health issues at early ages, because there's nothing countering all of this, we have to step in and start to create more resources, not just what we have, but there should be so many resources that serve our kids, their mental health, and to understand who they are and that they have a purpose. They're here for a reason. They're smart and life is hard, but they're strong and they can do it. You know, when kids believe them. And again, if you wait until you tell a teen that when they're already in the throes of depression, they're not so quick to believe you. But if you start telling a young child that, my dad, he was in the service. He was in the foxholes in Guadalcanal. He did not want boys because he didn't want them to be in the service. He wanted girls. And he told us from day one, we could do anything. There was nothing we couldn't do. And we're like, okay, we believe you. and I have believed it. And I finally think I might be doing it now. But all of those things are, yes, when it comes to specific organizations, specific faiths, there's areas, there's an appetite, and there's areas where there's no appetite for what we're doing at all. If anything, there are closed doors, like we don't want any part of this. So this is a movement, and but I believe it's a piece of the puzzle of what will ultimately create world peace. And it's not by separating kids and putting them in Sunday school and having them be, you know, over there outsourcing to somebody that, you know, is arguing with them whether their dogs have a soul or not. So I'm sorry, I'm going on I'm a little fired up this morning. Does that answer your question, Steve?
Yes, very much.
I'd love to talk to you further about all that and when you have some time after the week's all done. Okay.
Just so you know, Anton is presenting later in the week.
Oh, okay. I'll be sure to try to get there. Any other questions? Okay, and Autumn made a nice comment. Yes, our tagline is life skills for kids and their grownups. And again, we learn alongside the kids. I promise you, if you go sit down in a Sunday school and you participate in that class, you're going to walk away and that kid inside of you is going to remember a lot of the stuff that they learned when they were young or some of the principles that they've learned along the way. If you're doing, you know, interactive work and talking to kids, it'll blow your mind. I learned more. I have learned and grown so much developing this program alongside kids and adults that, and the adults are resistant. I will tell you that if you start to do this work, you'll see many of them, some of them are fired up. They're on the ground, right in there, doing whatever. And we did a parliament. We had a Sunday morning where there was a school of 80, I won't say the faith organization. And there were like probably 50 kids and 30 parents. And so the kids all sat down and the parents all stood with their arms crossed and holding their coats like around the circle watching their kids. And we're like, absolutely not. If you don't want to sit on the floor, you can sit in a chair, but you are part of this. And so they all sat down and we did a session on fear and anxiety. And if I tell this story, I'm going to go over today. I'm sorry. Anyway, all I can tell you is that by the time they were talking about their fears, there were moms crying and kids hugging them and connecting and realizing, you know, their mom's afraid of something. Of course, mom's afraid of something. We can't just save them from everything. We have to teach them that, and we have to teach them it's okay to be afraid of something. So there's a bigger story that goes with that, but I'll really go off on a tangent then. So yes, the grownups are a critical part of it. We also urge just something for all of you that are dealing with any organizations that have religious ed schools. We urge the directors of the whatever the school is to ask the parents to come into the classroom once a quarter and volunteer and get engaged, because they never have enough volunteers and the parents aren't engaged. And it is a very small requirement to go to once, out of every 12 weeks to go and sit with your own child in a classroom and not sit in that sanctuary and be fed while God knows what's going on in the classroom. So that is definitely something else that we have for youth ed directors, that we really encourage them to get the parents to volunteer. Otherwise, why work with their kid if they're not going to be that third leg of the stool? Okay, so the next thing I'm going to show you, I'm not going to go into the whole website today. We don't have time. I showed that little video at the top of the meeting. I'm going to put that link into the chat along with the link for the website. Please just go to the website and there'll be a pop-up where you can sign up for our newsletter. And our membership is also free. And there's a tremendous amount of free content. And we do have upgraded content for specifically parents and teachers that are using the full program. It's $2 a month. And because we need to be sustainable, we're an L3C, we're a mission-based company. It's literally $2 a month billed monthly or $20 a year for the full program. For organizations, we have organizational memberships and we have business memberships. So if you want five teachers that you want, you have a school and you have 5 teachers, you can sign up for the affiliate program. We cross promote with them and we collaborate with them and brainstorm with them. Okay, next. So let me see what I can find here. So the next thing I want to show you is, I want to show you something that we've already launched it, but we're going to be doing it this fall. And it's an activity around forgiveness. And again, this is a very secular activity. It doesn't have to, faith doesn't even have to necessarily come into it, but does open the door to faith conversations. Sorry, I should have had this teed up. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. I have so many emails that just came in and it's buried. So let me see if I can multitask and tell you about it while I'm finding it. I can't promise. The name of the activity is Are You Holding a Grudgie? And I think we all can imagine what a grudgie is, right? A grudgie is that thing, a grudge is that thing we hold. Okay, I'm going to have to go to the website to get this. A grudgie is that thing that we hold when the unforgiveness comes up and up and up again, over and over again, right? So, hold on, I'm almost there. Oh, I have to log in. Forgive me. Okay, let me share my screen with you. I have found it. So life skills, when you go to our website, I'm just going to show you real quickly. You probably saw it in the early one. This is our homepage. This is that video that you saw, the little few-minute explainer. That explainer video is a great thing to share so people understand the concept a little bit more. Life skills are the heart of the program. We call them life skills. It's all done modularly. What are affirmations? We're going to go to grudgy in a second. Instead of doing racism, we did a different spin on it. We did celebrating skin. And it's a very interesting, wonderful, wonderful session on the skin we're in. What is a refugee? What is pride? So anyway, these are single sessions. Deep dives are 3 sessions. They're soul talks. So single sessions are more, they're set up more for, oh my gosh, hold on, there we go. So they're really set up more for when you can do bigger sessions. Can you see this little guy here? Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So here's the grudgy. I actually have a really cute little GIF where his eyes roll around. See the grudgy?
Yes.
Okay. So the idea of the grudgy, and every session is done in a 45-minute, you can tailor it, you can do whatever you want, but every session is done like in a 45-minute session. And there's also music playlists, there's also books, there's games, there's all kinds of things that you can add to these things for follow-up and whatever. But the grudgy activity, the reason I want to tell you about this is because it is such a great outreach activity for fall. And we have 3 coming up for fall because it's back to school and it's can be done multi-generational. Whole family can come, grandma can come, grandpa can come, teachers can do it. You can do it anywhere with any group. You can have 2 people do it. So the idea of the grudgy is that this grudgy is this weight, right? The metaphor of the grudgy is this little grumpy thing that's sort of ruining your life, your day, your sleep, right? You can't get rid of this grudgy. It keeps coming up and up. So this first, when you get into the discussion and stuff, it'll go into a conversation. Again, I won't go into all that. But the activity itself, so you go into the conversation, talk about what is a grudgy with the kids, with the family, we all have them. And then you say, okay, look, we're going to think for a minute. What is your grudgy? Is it another person that's bullied you or hurt you or betrayed you somehow? Is it something that's happened to you that's made you so mad that it's, were you in, a bad car accident, or did you get sick somehow and miss something, wonderful that you thought was going to come up? So think about what your grudgy is. It can be a lot of things. And then we're going to have you decorate a little bag. There's little canvas ones, and then there's also little paper ones, because we don't need a lot of resources for all these activities, because we have people in Africa doing them that barely have pen and paper. So we try to make our activities fun and simple and not complicated with a lot of stuff that you need to buy. So imagine a lunch sack. Now you get the markers or stickers or whatever, you decorate your grudgy. You can name your grudgy, you can do whatever. Then we give you a 2-pound bag of flour, and you put that bag of flour inside the bag, and we tape it up. Now you have to walk around for, depends on the ages, of course, and your attention span, 6 minutes holding your grudgy. 6 minutes. Doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're carrying something, it's a lot. So then in order to put the grudgy down, we talk a little bit about how to get rid of this. We have to intentionally release it. We have to make an affirmation. And I can't even remember what it all is right now, but it's something, I release the grudgy, into love, whatever, and they can make up their own. Once you start with because we always encourage people to think about their own affirmations. So, but in order to put the grudgy down, you have to do the affirmation. And then, of course, you get to put the grudgy down. But now we encourage you to take it home. And every day for at least a week, you have to pick up or if it comes up more than once a day, every time it comes up, you have to pick up the grudgy, carry it around, and then release the grudgy. And the whole metaphor of this is that, you know what, it's very difficult to really forgive and release it. We say we forgive, we forget, all those things, but releasing anger and frustration and resentment is not an easy thing. Many of us, it's something in our family, someone in our families, something has happened. I bet we can all still talk about a grudge that, from middle school, we talk about stuff that happened to us, right? So this to me is just a beautiful, we've got groups that are going to be recording it and sending us videos. We've got an interfaith group that's supposed to run it at a library in September and invite the whole community. And, you know, this is a great place. If you have a town that has 3 or 4 active, you know, 2 active houses of worship and maybe a couple practitioners, clergy that want to do something, a couple of youth teachers. And then if you want to, you know, get volunteers and you want to reach out to high school kids there in your community or whatever, it's fun. You will get engagement and you will get people interested because there's nothing controversial about this. It is just a fun, real, interactive lesson. So I encourage you to take a look at this one. It is totally, if you sign up for free, this is all free. You can go in here and get this information anytime you need it. We always have downloadable PDFs on every Soul Talk and pop-up. Boy, I am struggling with my tech today. Hold on. I can't even bring my screen down.
We're
Okay.
still in Mercury retrograde.
Okay. Well, that makes me feel a little bit better. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing this anyway. We've got 4 minutes. I do have one more thing to show you and tell you about very quickly. We have any questions before I go into my last little thing? Any thoughts? Anything? Should I keep going? Okay, so I'm going to show you, I actually have 2 other activities, but I'm going to show you one that I feel like you could share today with kids, grandkids, anybody, any teachers anywhere. Free, just released a few. It's on YouTube. We just released it. It's already got like 400 views. We created so we have a soul talk around peace, right? Again, I wouldn't call that a religious subject. I'd call it peace. But we have created a short video. Hold on, let me get you. Here, hold on. It's kind of for kids, but doing it with kids makes it really fun. And we hope that the adults will appreciate it too. Okay, where are you? Here you are. Let me share. Okay, can you see my screen? And okay, hopefully you'll be able to hear it too. Give me a thumbs up if you hear it.
This is Peacock. Peacock is busy. Peacock is enjoying himself. Peacock hears an odd sound. Peacock looks around and sees a friend. Peacock gets some worrisome news and begins to feel strange. Peacock can't think clearly. Peacock's tummy starts to tumble. Peacock is anxious and feels like running away. Peacock remembers an easy trick. When you think and breathe together, you feel better. Breathe in peace. Breathe out worry, thinks Peacock. Breathe in peace. Breathe out worry. Breathe in peace. Breathe out worry. Peacock can think more clearly again. Peacock feels calm and wants to play. Peacock thinks, I never want to forget that trick. Peacock decides to practice it every night. Peacock calls his special trick to calm himself Peacock's Prayer. Now you try. Breathe in joy. Breathe out sadness. Breathe in love. Breathe out fear. Breathe in calm. Breathe out anger. Everyone wins with peace.
Okay. Yay. It's good, isn't it? Cute. And you know, the kids do this, but when they have a video to do this with and they start to understand, oh, they're calming their anxiety. Oh, this is what anxiety feels like. My 26-year-old, when I had him watch this finally, when the stomach started to tumble, he goes, that's me. I'm like, that's all of us. That's how but we don't know it. And as soon as I start to identify these things and realize there are things we can do to calm ourselves and, you know, bring ourselves some peace. So I pray that you all have an opportunity to just go check out the website. Please sign up for the free. You don't put in a credit card or anything, but you'll get the newsletter. You'll see lots of activities. And I have, just so you know, I have a special guest. I have Dr. Susan Katz Miller guest hosting with me on an October webinar for Interfaith Families. She's the author of Being Both, and about 7 other books about interfaith kids and families. So I urge you, if you have a newsletter, maybe you can share some of that and spread the word for that. And if anyone feels like staying on with me or doesn't have to go, I am here for questions, and I'd love to meet you all again. I'm going to put my my own email in the chat in case any of you want to reach me, because we sort of I talked a little bit. I'm a member of On and On Anonymous, so.
It's been wonderful, Edwina.
Thank you. I'm so happy to have been able to spend this time with you all, and I appreciate all of you. So there are currently, oh, why am I in the waiting room? Hold on. There it goes. It's just Edwina at Spiritual Playdate, and I spelled spiritual wrong, so don't spell spiritual. Edwina at Spiritual Playdate, and spiritualplaydate.com. You'll find us everywhere. We're all over every platform, and lots of stuff on YouTube, all kinds of clips, other videos, other interesting things. And we have more activities coming. Activities is what most people seem to be asking for the most. So while we're doing all the topics, we're trying to create more of these activities because they're easier to scale. It's easier to shoot a 3-minute video out there and people get a lot of it. So I thank you all so much.
Edwina, this is Dia.
Hi, Dia.
First, I loved your On and On Anonymous. Oh my gosh, that's so adorable. As a person who is making my way back to being able to use Christian religion language, as well as all the the other faiths, I could feel myself do a glitch when you said, this is what I call prayer, just because prayer meant what I was raised with, praying, and it's I can see I still have a little charge on it.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
As do I. Believe me, everything that we do gets a lot of mindful conversation. We sit with it, trying to wrestle with words like that. Like, is that something? But you have to remember, again, our work is contextual. So now we don't have prayer up there as a topic, but when we do prayer and meditation, we go through what do you think prayer is? And then we'll give you prompts of some people think prayer is this, some people think prayer is this. And, it's the same with God, it's the same with heaven and hell. Going through the list of all the different ideas that people have about heaven and hell and prayer, there are a lot of people that don't see prayer the way if you were raised in a, specifically damaging faith, especially that you have run from, it triggers us, but there are many people that don't see prayer as that. And he calls it Peacock's prayer. But who's he praying to? He's praying to himself, to the universe. He's bringing in peace. He's taking action. So to try to take some of the charge out of the word prayer, we included it. And we changed the title from Peacock's Prayer to Peacock's Finds Peace. So it is interesting. Like, it's something we all have to wrestle with because it is part of what we feel we bring to the table with something that wasn't always necessarily serving us. So, but thank you. And it did get a lot of thought, believe me, it did not go, it wasn't thrown in there casually.
And the whole video was just delightful. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And I appreciate anybody that can share it. And I see a question from Autumn. Hoping to get kids involved. As a side note, now I'm trying to think of the reverse to get the yes. Yeah. The thing about teens, kids love teens and young adults. They do. So it is great to have teens come to a spiritual center and be involved, but it typically will be the teens and the young adults that have been raised in something that they really still feel strongly about. It's much harder to get somebody to go back at that age. But I think it happens. I think when you do things that are transformational, it transforms everything. When you do things that are transactional, you will not see the same kind of result. But as you transform, all of our stuff too, we have teens doing it. We have adults doing it. We had 20 teachers that did fear and anxiety online as a training. So the stuff is profound enough that we all see the truth in it. So
Like,
and having the teens do it and having the young adults do it with kids is kind of exciting too. That's another way that makes it fun for them because it's a different kind of an interaction. It's not adults telling them to do things again. It's having conversations and interacting with young people. So thank you for that. Any more comments, questions? Okay, well, are we interrupting another? Stephen, you must be ready to go to another session.
No, you're good for another 20 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, if anyone wants to stay, I do have one other activity that I could show you, which is a seriously interfaith activity that you could do with adults, kids. Do you want to see another activity?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Oh, I'd love it. I love it. All right. Well, I'm glad I don't have another presentation right now. Now I have to find it. Okay. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about this activity and then I'll show it to you. After George Floyd, everybody wanted us to do justice, do social justice. We need to have, so social justice is no small topic. It is serious stuff and it is typically approached at a really high level. And because it's complicated and because the way our process for developing any topic is always to strip it down, strip it down, strip it down, because it's for kids. So we have to take, okay, what is the essence of this thing that we want to talk about? So what we realized is that justice is really an outcome. Social justice, any kind of justice is really an outcome. It's something that happens after there's an injustice. So in order for us to develop social justice, we had to strip it down for kids and adults to think this way and basically do sessions on fair and unfair. Well, most kids they have a pretty good idea of what's fair and unfair. Anybody that's been a teacher or parent can tell you how many times the kids will come and they're like, that's not fair, right? They know what's fair and unfair. So we do have a topic on fair and unfair. Hold on, let me pull it up. And it's 3 sessions. It's a set of soul talks. Okay, don't cancel the meeting. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm really struggling today. Thanks for being so patient with me. I think I have some other window open that I can't get in. All right. Okay, thank God. I thought I was about to cancel us. All right. So I'm going to go into, let's share. So I'm back in the website. Everything's pretty much in our website. I mean, we have so lots of social media. The videos, they slow down the website, so most of the videos are on our YouTube. There are embedded in there, but a lot of the like clips and things from meetings and presentations and conferences and things, those you'll find on the YouTube page. So in our life skills, we have, again, I see if I can knock this screen down. There we go. Okay, sorry about this. So in our life skills, pop-ups are a single session. Soul talks are 3 sessions. So these are the deep dives. These are things that you want to do more than one session on. Body, mind, and soul, bullying, connectedness, faith. What is faith? You know, faith has become, had a lot of Christian leaning lately. Like people hear the word faith and they think Christianity. Again, not everybody. But when we talk about faith, we have activities in there about all the different things you can have faith in. You can have faith in your friend. You can have faith in yourself. You can have faith in a belief or, you know, the universe or something else, in love. So these are contextual, and we try to get everybody thinking on a bigger scale about these things that we've learned under a microscope. So, where is my fair and unfair? Fair and unfair, right here in the middle. You see it? The little goldfish, the big goldfish. So fair and unfair is 3 sessions. What is fair, what is unfair, and the importance of fairness, okay? I won't go deep into them because I'll be here forever. But when you do fair and unfair, we have you play, depending upon the age of the group, that you play a game, and the first time you play it fairly, like and maybe the first time you would cheat. I think it's you're playing Candyland and you get to cheat. And then there's a whole conversation about, okay, well, how's that game work out for everybody now that everybody's cheated, right? And then you play it fairly. So it's basically talking about, you know, cheating and opening the conversation. But then it was time to go to justice. So now we didn't do all the different, you know, there's eco justice, there's social justice, there's all kinds of justice. Again, this is a serious conversation and a very serious topic. So what is justice? Very contextual, talking about what does it mean? And what is an injustice? So they understand what an injustice is, and then standing up for justice. And I think this is the activity is here. It's also in footprints too. Let me see if it's here, because we have a bunch of activities. Yeah. So the activity that I'm going to show you here is called Footprints for Fairness, and I'm going to show it to you in the fun stuff. It's in what's it in? See, I can't find any of my stuff. Oh, I know. I'm sorry. I'm supposed to be showing you the video. I'm not so good at this. I do a lot of things, but navigating my website isn't one I always do. Let me get it. So the name of the activity is called Footprints for Fairness. And we learned this activity, sorry. Footprints for Fairness was designed, one of our advisors is a special ed teacher, and then she also does the youth activities for a Hebrew school. And she designed this activity after she learned of the story of Rabbi Heschel when he marched at Selma. Okay, I think I found it. There it is. Okay, so she created this activity. Rabbi Heschel, when he marched to Selma over the bridge with Martin Luther King, afterwards, he said, I felt like my legs were praying. And she wanted to do an activity for the kids to understand that marching is like a prayer, to use the word that we've just been talking about, that it is walking in peace can be a social action, that it is a way to get justice. So she created this activity, and the activity is called Footprints for Fairness. And she laid out a huge roll of paper. She had a discussion first about fairness, justice, walking in peace. What is nonviolent action? What does that mean? Can we take action without being violent and have it be productive? And so the activity is, they talk about this, and they talk about all the spiritual teachers that have taught us about walking in peace. Buddha, Jesus, Gandhi, Martin Luther King, all these spiritual teachers have taught us that nonviolent action, that walking in peace is the path to peace, and it should be our path. So they take and they learn about all these quotes. They can pick a quote, or they can make up their own quote. They take a marker and they write the quote down on this long banner of paper. And then they step in paint and they walk down the paper. So I'm going to show you our little video on this now, finally, that I found it. Sorry, gotta share. This is just a short little promo on it. Hopefully you can see and hear all this. See, everybody? See, this is a Unity Church that did this. Look at him, a stand-up wheelchair. So that, oh, yay. I'm glad you enjoyed it. We enjoyed it too. We've helped facilitate a few of those. And again, this is not hard. This was done in the church parking lot at a Unity Church in Des Plaines. We did it at the Parliament of World Religions. You can do it more simply than this without the paper, with chalk paint. You can literally, at Parliament of World Religions, we had a patio that we were able to do it with chalk paint, and they wrote on the ground in chalk, and then they stepped in the chalk paint, and it was very easy to wash off their feet. This Unity Church, when they did it, the first one was at an interfaith block party where you saw the yellow paper with the orange, that was an interfaith block party. And they did it in paint. And then the Christians, that was their idea. They wanted to wash everybody's feet at the end. So, which was so, again, show us who you are, right? Show us who you are. And then when we did it at Parliament, everybody just was given a wipe or a water and they could wipe the chalk paint off. But if you do it on the paper, it's nice because then you have this banner, this community art piece. But again, this is something, go and host it at your library, get a few community partners. It's not a lot of resources. It's really fun. I guarantee you, if you put out a press release, you'll get some notice on there. You can put it on your social media and do a Facebook Live. There's so many things that you can do. Now, this has a religious contingent to it. Is that the right word? An element to it, but not really. It's an interfaith. It's really an interfaith activity, right? So, it's looking for the essences, the skills that have come out of these teachings and traditions and books that have survived a million years, because not a million years, you know how many years, depending on the book, because they have truth, because they serve us. Okay, I've got one last comment about something that we did that I'm very excited. I'm going to be meeting someone very special this weekend, and I'm hoping that he loves this activity as much because he has an amazing podcast that we hope to get on. We did holy books and sacred texts. We did it as religious literacy. We wanted everyone to understand there is another book besides the Bible. There are multiple writings and scripts out there all over the world, older than the Bible, that billions of people that follow that don't even know about your Bible. We want them to know about what all these holy books are. So the first session, this I think I can pull up. The first session is, hold on. See, every time I get out of here, I'm in trouble. Okay, the first session, hold on. This one I can do. So, where is it? Am I sharing?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, holy books and sacred texts. Can you see it here? Okay. So the first session, what is sacred, what is holy, which is important. What does that even mean, right? So then we get into the importance of holy books and sacred texts. We talk about holy books. And again, these are things that have been treasured that, and what different people believe about them, that some people think that they're written by man. Some people think they're written by, spirit, like something from outside of us. Sacred texts, what are these things that have survived and why? Why is there so much truth in some of these quotes that have come and lived for thousands of years from authors and teachers? Then at the end, session 3 is about the old words, the new words, the truths, and how do they impact you? So the activity in session 3 is for them to understand what's a text. Oh, it's on session 2. I'm sorry, I've got to find it. But I've got to have one of my teachers doing this. I'm going to stop sharing before I confuse you. The activity is to get them to find a phone and realize that when they send a text, those words are sacred. Someone on the other end of those words are going to hear and feel those words, see and hear those words. Their activity, their assignment, we don't use that word, it's too dry. Their activity to go home with is to send someone a sacred text. How much more relevant can we get right now for our young people, Autumn, for our young kids to understand that this is a tool and the power of their words is enormous, and they can hurt people with those words and they can lift people up with those words. And that's the golden rule. And we can talk about that in another session, but let's make things relevant for our young people so that they can understand the relationship with all of these faith traditions and these teachings that still exist today. So sacred texts, holy books and sacred texts, it sounds dry, it's very cool. And I encourage anybody to go through those sessions, look through the sessions, see what they are, and use them and spread the word about them. And everybody sitting in the circle gets to pick up their phone then. Think about someone. Is it somebody they want to apologize to and forgive or ask forgiveness? Is it someone they need to tell that they love, that they haven't told them lately, that they love them? Think about, is it someone they miss? They can send a sacred text. And when they start comprehending the connection of their power and their words, they will think differently about what they put on their phone. And as you bring all these elements together, things like bullying, things like forgiveness, gratitude, love, texting, all of these tools that we have out there, they will make these connections. Their brains are on fire. Their pathways are all still open. They haven't screwed them up yet, like so many of us have. So, okay, I really am going to stop because I feel like I have been going on and on. And I am very grateful for you all today. I would love to do any follow-up session, anything that you guys want. Please reach out to me. Put something in the chat here if you still want to. This was wonderful to meet with you. And I do have coming up, if you are on our newsletter, you'll see coming up in specific in October 16th will be our session with Susan Katz-Miller, which is being both. And I really hope that all the interfaith members from all your communities know about this and join us, because it will be a wonderful and vibrant session.
Yeah, Edwina, can I just add, would you send me some information so that I could even post it on the Point newsletter?
Yes.
So, if you have a flyer or just words or something, I can fiddle with
and if
pictures,
it's okay with all of you, we do have you register. We do have your emails. If it's okay with all of you, I will put you on our newsletter.
Sure.
If that's okay. If there's anyone that would prefer not to be on it, just please.
Oh, no,
let
that's
us know.
fine. Yeah.
Lynn,
Yeah,
and
I'd love
is
to
that okay?
advertise. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. We'll add you all to the newsletter, so you'll get the next newsletter. And on our website, right at the top of the website, there's a running all of the upcoming events and webinars and everything. So I really appreciate you all very much, very much. I hope this was helpful, and
Excellent.
love to see you again.
Wonderful, Edwina.
I'm sorry?
You are wonderful.
Oh, I'll take it. Thank you. Thank you. Well, as you can see, I'm passionate about it, and I would love to collaborate with any of you and all of you, because I know you wouldn't be here if you weren't passionate about it too. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Boy, enjoy your day.